Alrighty. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the April 16th Apple CIDER Q&A meeting, hosted at the JCC Tech Age Computer Lab. Just getting the audio and video streams up and running so people that are not able to make it today can watch live or rewatch it on demand. Make sure my audio feeds are running here. All right, audio is running, video is running. All right, that should get us working for a while. So we had a question as we were setting up. Hide all this stuff out of the way. So Elizabeth got a message on her computer about her backup drive not being formatted properly. And the irony was that she's been using the backup drive for quite a while. So it should have been formatted properly. So what I've done is I've connected it to my computer. And if I use the get info command, that will tell me what format it's in. And it says it's in macOS Extended Journal, which is what it should be in. And that's what the error message said it wasn't in. So unfortunately, the error message is wrong and doesn't help us any. Yes. Oh, bugger. Let's see here. Which one of these buttons is it? Nope, that might have been the wrong button. Nope. Aspect ratio. Where is aspect ratio?
It's showing up 95.
Resize, there it is. All right, now we are small and there we are. That'll work. So now we've got the whole screen. Unfortunately, it's not as good as it could be. Well, the problem is that we've got a widescreen computer and a square screen. So we have to shrink the widescreen to fit on the square screen. Unless I can get it to switch to a square picture, and that might work better. Preferences. When televisions switched to high definition and widescreen, the TV shows didn't work right anymore because they were square TV shows and then wide televisions. So that was a problem for a while. All right, let's see how that works. And we'll set this back to normal. That's a little better. All right, let's see if we set this down. That should help people farther back. All right, so the hard drive is in Mac format. Many times when you buy a new hard drive, it comes in Windows format because companies find that easier. The majority of computers sold are Windows computers. And so it comes in Windows format, and the Mac will reformat it for Mac if you want it to. So that's not as big a deal for them, but it is annoying that sometimes when you buy a hard drive. So if you buy a hard drive in an Apple store, or there are brands that are specifically pre-formatted for Macintosh, then that helps too. So since the message is right, or I'm sorry, the format is right, the error message is wrong, we need to reconfigure it on Time Machine. So if you want to open your computer up, we can go to System Preferences, and I'm going to hide my Windows stuff, and we're going to go to the Time Machine setting, and that's where you tell it what your Time Machine hard drive is. So Time Machine is the backup program that's built into the Macintosh, and it will automatically copy everything on your computer to an external hard drive so that you have a second copy in case you accidentally delete something, in case your computer dies, you've got that second copy. Time Machine also has a feature where it keeps all of the old versions of your files, so you can go back in time and find a file from last week, from last month, from last year. Because sometimes you don't know when a file got lost. So Time Machine technically does what's called an archival backup. So it keeps all of the old versions in case you ever need them. So in the Time Machine system preferences is where we tell it what drive we want to back up to. So you want to bring up system preferences under the Apple menu.
Get out of there. Out of here, down here?
Don't have to get
Down
out of
here.
anything. Just go to the Apple menu and bring
Where'd
up
it
system
go?
preferences.
Okay, system preferences. Okay.
And then go to Time Machine. Oh, we got to plug your drive in.
Nope.
And right now, this is telling me that my computer is set up to back up to a drive. If you've never configured it to back up, then it won't have all this text on it and will just say select disk.
Want me to do that?
So we're going to take a look. It wants to back up to a disk called backup. And the other thing it does is it won't back up when you're on battery power, because it doesn't want your battery to drain and crash in the middle of the backup. So it'll back up when it's plugged in. We're going to select the disk. And for some reason, it thinks this disk is not the backup disk. So let's tell it we want to use this disk that we plugged in. Had you plugged this into a different computer before?
No.
So
The only computer I've got.
what had happened is Time Machine forgot this was the right backup drive and was giving her the wrong error message. So what happens sometimes is when there's an error, the program looks through its list of possible messages for the right one. If it can't find the right message, it will sometimes just display the last message, which gives you the wrong error. Or what it should do is, well, unknown error, which is less helpful. Although I guess an unknown error is better than the wrong error. So we're going to tell it to back up now and just see if it's going to start backing up. So in your Time Machine menu, you have the option to do a backup now, so you don't have to wait for the next automatic backup. And it also tells you when your last backup was. So my last backup was January 30th, 2016. Because my backup drive is full. So this little red error here is telling me what's wrong. My backup drive is full, so I can't back up anymore. So I got to get a bigger backup drive. So that becomes a choice. When your backup drive is full, you can delete your backup history and start over again, or you can get a new backup drive. Hard drives are so cheap these days, generally speaking, you're often better off getting a new drive. That way you have that old archive history. So you got one drive that goes back 2 years, the next drive goes back, from 2 years ago to now, and then you have that continual history. So your backup is now running. It knows this is the right drive, and it's doing the backup.
Okay, so now there's this many GBs in there, right? And I have 500 available?
You have 357 gigabytes of 500 available.
Right.
So your drive is 500 gigs, so is mine.
Mm-hmm.
I've only got 40 gigs available, which is why there's not enough space to back up.
Oh.
So on your computer, you've got 500 gigs, 350 free. So you're using about a third of the disk. So you've got a lot of space left before your disk will get full.
Before I get a message again.
Right. Well, before you get the disk full message.
Yeah.
So that becomes a different message.
Oh, that's a different one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we can have it warn you, if I go into options here, we can have it warn you when it's going to delete those backups. So
It deletes?
It will delete the old backups when the drive gets full.
Oh.
So what you want to do is if you want to keep your old backups, at the point your drive gets full, then you put a new drive in, select that disk, and then tell it to continue backing up in the future.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you make that change, how is there a place to tell it not to do a complete backup at that point?
No.
You have to do one
So,
complete backup.
the first time you back up to a disk, it backs up everything. So when you start with a new backup disk, it doesn't know about your old backups, and that's kind of good, just in case that drive dies. So you start with a new disk, it backs up everything the first time. So the first time may take several hours because it's backing up everything on your computer. Usually you want to leave that overnight. But most of the time you don't notice when it's backing up because it doesn't take that much power. And so you can keep doing other stuff while it's backing up. Each successive backups will only back up your changed files. So right now on hers, it's backing up 200 megs. So since your last backup, you've made 200 megs worth of changes. So it's not going to take very long. It's only going to take a few minutes to do a couple hundred megs. So that first backup may take hours because it does everything. And then each successive backup only does changes. And so that's very fast. It does a backup every hour. So you don't lose more than an hour's worth of work. And since you haven't done much in an hour, usually, the backup only takes a few minutes. So you usually never notice it backing up. So it keeps those backups, and then it compresses the hourly backups into a daily backup, and it keeps your daily backups for a month, and then it keeps weekly backups for all previous months. So you can always go back in time and find your previous backups. And then when the drive is full, it deletes the oldest backup and to make room for a newer backup.
Yeah, when you want to look up something on your backup, you plug this thing in and you do whatever you do. But then can you look for it by, say, a general time period?
Yes.
Okay.
If you don't mind, I will plug it back into to the projector so we can see what's happening. So there's kind of two ways to do a restore. If you want to restore a single file or a group of files, you would go to the folder that file was in. So say I lost my wife's slides, heaven forbid.
You'd be in big trouble.
Yeah, I would go to that folder. Actually, it's not going to let us do this. Let me see. And then from the Time Machine menu, I can enter the Time Machine program. And then what that will do is it brings up this nifty Time Machine interface. Okay, I know that. Yeah, it's not going to do it because it's not my backup drive. Do you mind if we show your computer?
Sure.
Then the projector won't see it. Let me think. Then you get this little interface that shows you all of your Time Machine. Let me see if I can get to it with no drive connected. Well, kind of here. So it shows you back in time. So each of these windows is showing you a previous date. And over on the right-hand side, you have a calendar. So you can go back to yesterday, day before, last month. And you've got little buttons that let you go back and forth to go back to each previous backup. There's also a search window. So you can type the name of the file you think you're missing. But one of the neat things is just by hitting the back button, it will go back in time until there's a change in the folder. Theoretically, it goes back until it finds when the file was there, because now it's not. So you can restore that file. Then you pick the file you want and use the restore button, and that will restore that specific file. If your entire computer crashes, then you can when you boot your computer, you can boot from your backup drive and then restore everything on your computer. So it gives you everything back to your last backup. So it's kind of two reasons for a restore. One is you lost a single file. The other is your whole computer crashed and you need to restore everything. So both options are available to you with the Time Machine. And it's built into the computer. All you need to do is add a hard drive. You can add a regular USB hard drive to it if you like. Let's see. This is still working, I think. Or what's also neat is Apple has their airport time capsule. And the airport time capsule is a wireless router, and it's a wireless backup drive. And so if you've got an older router, this is running the latest wireless technology, the AC technology. So if you have your router a few years, it might be running G or N or one of the older standards. So you can get a newer router with much faster Wi-Fi, longer range. So some people who have larger houses, you might have to have a wireless repeater to get your wireless to reach the other end of the house. With the new AC, it's a stronger signal, so you may not need those repeaters. And you can get it with a 2 terabyte or 3 terabyte hard drive built in, so you can back up wirelessly over your network. And that's very handy for laptops, so you don't have to remember to plug in your hard drive so the backup happens. It can back up wirelessly wherever you happen to be in the house, and your time capsule sits back usually in a room all by itself. So that's a nice way to have a backup that you don't have to worry about remembering to do, because it's always there for you. All right, so we got your drive taken care of. We got your backup working. So you should be all set.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Another question?
Take all my stuff.
Bob and then Van. I saw him first.
10.6.8.
Okay.
My wife's told me recently she wants to be able to dictate her email message. I went on the internet and I tried to do it. I'm almost thinking that 10.6.8 and not really dictate like an average does.
So the question is about adding dictation to the computer. There are third-party programs that will let you dictate to the computer. The speech recognition that's built into the Mac is for speaking commands. They didn't add dictation until later operating systems. So in 10.6.8, it doesn't have the Apple dictation. I don't remember when they added it. Let me see if I can find that. So that if you upgraded her computer, 10.10 it looks like. Let me see.
That's an average.
That's El Capitan. No, but it started in 10.9. That's enhanced dictation. All right, maybe 10.8 had dictation, but it would send what you spoke up to Apple's servers to get recognized, and they would send the text back to your computer. Starting in 10.9, there's enhanced dictation, which lets you download the recognition engine to your computer so that you can dictate live on your computer. So I'm going to bring up a text. Yeah.
And she saw that.
Yep. So I'm going to bring up a new document here. And for some reason, my video is not showing the right screen. Hang on a second. We had this problem at CIDER last week. Oh, I think the problem is I didn't restart. Save. I didn't restart Chrome since I was recording sound bites. All right.